Howdy everybody, it is time for another round of marketing. We have been slicing and dicing up the overall market into smaller market segments, and we've been discussing ways that we can do that. We've talked about geographic segmentation, we've talked about demographic segmentation, and now we're going to talk about psychographic segmentation. It sounds really complicated and involved, but it's a simple idea. In psychographic segmentation, we are dividing the population up according to their values and their lifestyle factors, all right? So we're talking about things that are a little bit less quantitative than demographic information. And so where do we even get that information? How do I want to know what a group of consumers thinks or how they feel? Well, you got to ask them. A lot of this information is going to be obtained via large-scale surveys. And surveys are going to ask a group of consumers about their preferences and activities they're involved in, their interests, their opinions, that kind of thing. And so if you think about a big business, they're probably not gathering a lot of that information on their own. They're probably farming that out to a marketing firm. And in our video right now, we're going to show you one of the biggies, one of the big time players in that space, going out and getting psychographic information, packaging it, and selling it to big business, kind of helping them develop their target markets. Now, you think about psychographic segmentation. Questions we're trying to answer. What does the consumer think? What does the customer value? What kind of lifestyle do they lead? Let's compare and contrast that to what we've talked about in geographic and demographic segmenting. In that particular type of segmenting, we're asking, like, how old is the customer? What is the customer's age? It's basically the same question twice there. What is the customer's gender? Where do they live? We're tackling issues like that. And so you think about like maybe a small business. Small businesses, they can pull off geographic and demographic segmenting fairly easily. We talked about the data sets on the state government websites, U.S. Census Bureau. We can get a lot of that information just via the internet. Help us develop our market segments. The psychographic information, a little bit harder to come by. As I mentioned, a lot of businesses will farm that out and let research firms, marketing research firms, kind of gather that. One such firm is Claritas. And your book mentions it's just a little blurb at the bottom of one of the pages, but they talk about their PRISM market segmentations. Claritas actually has a system where they've gone through and created 68 specific target market segments. And they will kind of sell that information to firms that need help with their marketing and identifying target markets. And they don't have to do all the work on their own. And what Claritas has done is taken the geographic, the demographic information and paired it with psychographic and behavioral. So I wanted to kind of give you a little bit more in-depth look at the PRISM system that they've kind of created here in the different marketing segments and different target market segments, because it really is kind of interesting. Your book doesn't go into a whole lot of detail, so I thought I would give you a little bit more detail here. Here are the 68 predefined target markets that the PRISM system talks about. You can see they're kind of grouped into three different areas: younger years, family life, and mature years. And those groupings are based on just simple demographic information, age, and household status. Do you have kids? Do you not? Or do you don't? Do you have kids or do you don't? Yeah, we're completely butchering the wording here today. Do you have kids or not? There we go. And also maybe a little bit about income level, right? So that's kind of our groupings here, three broad groupings. And then we get a little bit more into the psychographic parts. You can kind of see the descriptions of the different groups that they've targeted here. We've got big sky families. We've got country casuals. We've got struggling singles. We got new melting pot, all the way down to golden ponds. And you can see a lot of different specific target markets here. Younger years, if we kind of look at that broad generalization, we're talking about people typically under 45 with no children in the household. Again, basic demographic information that we're using to group these people. Family life, segments that are middle-aged and either defined by the presence of kids in the household or have high indices for households with children under age 18. They could be married or single. And then mature years, of course, people who are elderly, kids who are away from home, that kind of thing. Right? 3 main groupings right there. Let's hone in on a few of these subgroupings here and really get into the psychographic aspects. We've got the young digerati, ages 25 to 44. They're homeowners, millionaires, above average tech skills and interest. And some of the details behind that group: tech savvy, living in fashionable neighborhoods on the urban fringe. Living here in Wilmington, Ohio, I most definitely do not fall into the young digerati category. Affluent, highly educated, living in trendy homes and condos. Eco-friendly lifestyles. They enjoy dining at organic health food restaurants, coffee houses, and other trendy establishments. I don't know that you would consider Taco Bell a trendy establishment where I like to dine. Probably not. Some details about people who are typical of that group. They own a Volvo. I mentioned the health food there. Shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue. I couldn't even find a Saks Fifth Avenue. I don't even know where one would be. Visits LA. I don't visit LA. Watches Game of Thrones. I don't do that either. Listening to rhythmic adult contempo. And so most definitely, I do not fall into that category. Think back to the demographics video when we talked about if we just rely on demographic information, we may not really have a good idea of who our customers really are. Perfect example. I fall into that 25 to 44 age group. I have kids at home. I'd like to think I have above average technical skills. I'm a homeowner. Definitely not a millionaire. But none of this other stuff really applies to me. The psychographic parts, that isn't me. And so if you try to target me with advertising that speaks to that particular target market, you're going to miss me. It's going to go right over my head. All right. And so let's maybe find one that is a little bit more me. Big Sky families. 35 to 40. Mostly people who own a home, above average income producing assets, average technical abilities. Okay, so now demographically that kind of captures where I'm at. Scattered in towns across the American heartland, a segment of middle-aged rural families. That kind of sounds like me. I enjoy country music. I enjoy team sports. I enjoy outdoor activities, not so much hunting, but I like fishing. Love going out and hiking. Love being outdoors in the national parks there. These families attend high school sporting events. Yeah, I got a kiddo in high school. I'm always attending the local high school sporting event. And they wear the team logo apparel to show their team spirit. Do that too. I don't own a Ram. I don't think there's any Hardys around here. Not that I'm against Hardys. I just don't know where one's at. I have bought team high school apparel. Enjoy fishing. And boy, this one hits really close to home. Holiday Inn Express. When we're on the road traveling, we're staying at Holiday Inn Express. We're members of the rewards program. We get the points, and we usually try to book Holiday Inn Express whenever we can. Watches Truck Night in America. I'm not sure what Truck Night in America is, but I do love classic country. So now we're getting into things that maybe I fit a little bit more of that psychographic profile. And again, the point being, demographics will only take you so far. You have to know how your target market thinks and behaves. Finally, white picket fence is another example of one of those little specific groupings there in that 68 in the prism. Less than 55 years old, low income producing assets, above average tech. And we got residents look a lot like the stereotypical American household of a generation ago. Upper mid-scale couples with kids. Some parents just beginning to start families. Others approaching the empty nest stage. Yeah, kiddos going to be 15. She'll be out of the house in a couple of years. Enjoy grabbing a quick bite at Chick-fil-A, attending college basketball games, and shopping at Sam's Club. I eat me some Chick-fil-A. I've been to Orlando and Disney World many, many times. And my wife watches the Food Network religiously. So you take the two and kind of smush them together, you got a pretty good psychographic profile of people in my household. That's the Claritas Prism Premier market segments. 68 of them in all. If you would like to take a deeper look at that, I've actually linked up the PDF right here. You can click on that in the notes and you can download that document and look through all the different groupings there, 68 of them in all. You can figure out which ones you fall into. Again, the most powerful segmenting happens when we take the demographic and the geographic segmentation, we combine it with the psychographic and behavioral, which we'll talk about in our next video. One more video on the behavioral segmentation, and we will be done with our unit on market segmentation. As always, if you have any questions about anything you've seen in a video or anything you have read in the book, I'd be happy to talk about it. Feel free to drop me a line and we can chat. One more video on the unit, and then we'll be moving right along deeper into the 4 Ps. Until then, take care, everybody.